door open? Can you leave the door open?
Yes, ma'am. All the way open?
Yes, please.
You got it.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor by Mindy, seconded by Robert, to exit executive session. To all those in favor? So it's 4-0. So there were no decisions made in executive session. We'll roll over to old business.
Old business A, we have additional nursing services, and we do not need to keep this item any longer. We don't have to revisit this.
Items of new business.
Just to get your thoughts and opinions, and I did share an email with you, school committee members, on a solution for elementary remote teaching. And I will share my screen, and hopefully I have this information queued up. I met with the building administrators, the elementary building administrators, last Thursday, and we were talking about specifically remote learning and how many remote learners we have in the Madawaska School Department, and also in 33, and our other school district in 27. So we tried to come up with a way to solve our issue with trying to manage remote learning with remote teachers, so that our in-classroom teachers would not have to do it. And that was all part of what we had discussed in our plan. So on the screen, you can see the result of what we have right now for elementary learners in Madawaska. You see you have 0 pre-K signed up, 9 K to 2, 7, 3 to 5, and 2 and 6th grade. Then you can see what Dr. Levac Elementary has and Fort Kent Elementary has. So in looking at these numbers, I'm going to just speak specific to MES. MES teachers are all coming back to school, and in the survey that we presented, none of the MES teachers volunteered to become a remote teacher as part of their plan. They want to be in classroom, they want to be live with kids, and so there was no volunteer to do that thrown on the table. There was also no MES teachers that were seeking to have a note from their doctor to teach remotely from home. So instead of forcing somebody to do that, what they don't want to do, we collaborated, as I said, with the other administrators, and we looked at, can we come up with a solution that works for all of us? And in the end, the result of that was, we think we can, and this is kind of a summary of what we decided. Pre-K, we're just gonna have the current pre-K teachers collect the work that the kids are doing every day in classroom. So Carrie O'Brien will set aside, these work items that her kids are doing in class, and then on Friday, that packet goes home to a remote learner. Now, for MES, it's not, there's 0 pre-K, so it's a moot point for pre-K. But for the other districts, that's how it's going to work. We looked at the K2 numbers, what we call our early elementary benchmark, or early elementary cluster. We have about 24 learners. It's actually 22 now. It's not 24. That's dwindled down a little bit. So we thought that one shared remote teacher could work with that cohort. And we do have a teacher from one of the other districts who would be willing to do that as a shared service to the Valley if it would be approved by their school board. That teacher is an SAD 27 teacher, so there would have to be pre-approval, but I met with that teacher today, and she would love to manage those K-2 learners, has a great plan about how that's going to work based on the remote learning framework we put together, and is really excited about that. For 3 to 5, again, that number is a little bit lower now, it's 23. We would have to advertise the position because we do not currently have a teacher available. But I do have some feelers. I do have some people in mind that I'm going to try to reach out, or I might have already reached out to see if they would have interest, see where the applications come out, and then look to hire a shared 3 to 5 teacher for that cohort of learners. 6th grade would do the same thing as middle school and follow a teacher schedule. So we'd be asking our 6th graders to do exactly what the 7th and 8th graders do. tune into your class on time and follow your school schedule. So we're going to treat the sixth graders like middle high school in that design. So I guess what I'm asking for you all tonight is, are you okay with me proposing a shared teacher for K to 2 and a shared teacher for 3 to 5? The K to 2 teacher, as I mentioned, is an SAD 27 employee. The 3 to 5 teacher, we would kind of deem as a Valley Unified teacher, but that teacher, if Valley Unified, would also fall under MSAD 27 because that's the fiscal agent for Valley Unified. It'd just be a little bit more simple to keep them both under that same design. And what we would propose is a shared cost sharing. So if you look at your students in K to 2, you would be essentially paying 9 out of 22 learners in a cost share. And in 3 to 5, you'd be paying 7 out of 23 in a cost share. And what we would do is revisit that cost share every quarter, because we know we have to have those cohorts in place by quarter, and then parents can make decisions based on the quarter. And we would invoice the districts specific based on the quarterly percentage of how many learners they have in the cohort. I still have to pitch this to the other SAD 27 specifically, as one of their teachers is theirs, and they would be, I would be looking for them to hire the second one. If for whatever argument SAD 27 would not be favorable to this, and I'm not saying they wouldn't be, but let's say they would be, I may be coming back to you all and saying, okay, now we have this many learners for MES. Can we hire an MES teacher for the 16, 17 learners? I'd rather not do that for a one-year position. I think if we could do a shared teacher between the 3 districts, and this would just be a one-year position for that 3 to 5 teacher, I think we'd have some flexibility. I think we'd have a remote teacher who would be engaged, invested in remote teaching, because the person I have in mind is somebody who's done this in the past or something like this in the past. And I think it's just a good way to show that our 3 elementary schools thought outside the box and are working together as partners, as Valley Unified should be, to come up with a creative solution for an issue we have.
Is this the CARES? Is this coming out of CARES money? And was that already put into as an expense for the amount that you showed that was already expended so far, the 345,000?
So Robert, and speaking with Lee's, we have a couple pools of money that we can draw from. One of them is a REAP fund pool of money. It's leftover money from unexpended titles that we could apply to this if we had to. We were going to look at CARES as well if we had to, but this is not currently in the budget for the CARES. We were going to target the REAP money first and see where things would lie after that.
And why wouldn't you go after the CARES money?
Or we could do that. We'd look to see which one would have the most flexibility.
Right,
So,
and which one would be the least affecting the local taxpayers? Right?
correct. In looking at the CARES, I know we still have some budgeted money there. The percentages might work out where it closes out that grant. We just have to look carefully at what the costs are based on your final percentage of students.
So you need a motion to explore this?
I would need a motion for you to allow me to include Madawaska in this plan that I present to SAD 27 tomorrow night.
So then MSA D33 accepted this?
They're going to have their meeting next Monday, and I will put that at that time. The only other solution would be to go in it our own. Lise has looked at her numbers of class sizes. She may be able to create one very large class of younger students in order to free up a teacher. But it wouldn't be ideal for that cluster of kids in the younger grade level, which would now have 20, 21 kids in live classroom learning. And then on the other side of things, you would have a teacher that might not be very comfortable working with grades 3, 4, 5, and potentially 6. So, the teacher we have in mind has worked across grade levels and is very comfortable with these grade levels.
So do we have a motion?
I'll move.
Robert? And do I have a second? Robert and Mindy? Do we have any discussion?
Not just if the other communities don't go along with this.
Then I'll get a gauge of that tomorrow, for sure, and the first thing that Louisa and I will do, the following day is brainstorm on plan B.
So should there be something in the motion that says we're approving you looking into this as long as everybody else is?
Yep.
Something to that effect.
Sure.
So this is how I wrote it. To allow the superintendent to explore a cost-sharing arrangement with MSAD 27 and MSAD 33 to hire an educator, and I haven't finished, but for remote learning purposes. So he's exploring it.
As long as they're buying into that.
Definitely, for sure.
You need a vote, Tammy?
Yeah, there's no further discussion, yes?
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
4-0. I need a motion to adjourn. Louis?
I'll move.
Oh,
Is it Mindy or is it
Robert. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good night. Robert, thank you.
Thanks, Robert.
Rob, is he gone?